Okay, we're going to look at the mean, median and modal class from grouped data. Now, remember for grouped data, we have got a large spread of scores, and so rather than have a really long table, a really big frequency distribution table, we group scores into classes. So scores from 60 up to, so above 60 up to including 70 go in this class. Scores above 70 up to including 80 go in this class, etc. Remember when the data was not grouped, we added an FX column to find our mean. We added an FX column, we totaled the FX column and divided it by the number of scores, which was in this case 45, and that's how we got our mean. Well, with group data, we can't times F by X because F's pretty obvious, but what on earth would we times this by? So it's slightly different with group data. You do add an FX column, but before you can do that, you need to also add a class center column. So in other words, what is the middle term between 60 and 70? It might be obvious that it's 65, but for classes that aren't as obvious, how did we get the 65? We say 60 plus 70, which is 130, divided by 2 gives us 65. So 70 plus 80 is 150, 150 divided by 2 is 75. So we add a class center, and now we've got an FX column. We say what is the frequency, and we times it by the X, which is our class center. So 5 times 65 gives us 325. 75 by 7, 525. 85 by 10, 850. 95 by 12, 1140. 105 by 8, 840. 115 by 3 is 345. We then add up these scores, which gives us 4025. Our mean is the sum of our FX column over the number of scores. So our mean is 4025 divided by 45, and that gives us our mean. So the mean is approximately 89.4. Median. We do what we did before. So for the median, we add a CF column. So we start with 5, and then we say 5 plus 7 gives us 12. 12 plus 10 gives us 22. 22 plus 12 gives us 34. 34 plus 8 gives us 42. 42 plus 3 gives us 45. We know there was 45, so the fact that this CF column has ended in 45 means we are on the right track so far. Okay, then to find the median, we need to do a frequency distribution O-guide. So how we do that? We put our cumulative frequency up this side. Down the bottom, we put our scores. Now the textbook actually does it not the way that we're going to teach you. So the textbook here has put 65 here because that was the class center. So you can see that the textbook has put all this, the class centers, down here. The way we do it is not that, is we put here the class intervals. So this was 60, this was 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 and 120. And what we do, between 60 and 70, the cumulative frequency was 5. So we go up and go across to 5. Between 70 and 80, the cumulative frequency was 12. So we go up here to 12. Between 80 and 90, the cumulative frequency was 22. So this histogram goes up to 22. Between 90 and 100, the cumulative frequency was 34. So there's our histogram to 34. Between 100 and 110, our cumulative frequency was 42. And between 110 and 120, our cumulative frequency was 45. So we do a cumulative frequency histogram. We then, as you can see the red line here, this is called the cumulative frequency ogive. So what we do is an ogive goes from corner to corner. So you can see the red line's going from the corners at the top of each bit of the histogram. So we do a cumulative frequency ogive. Remember, all of this is to work out our median, and we've still got one step to go. Okay, that last step, remember our median is the n plus 1th over 2 term. There was 45 terms, so 45 plus 1 over 2 is our 23rd term, gives us our median. So what we do is we go up our cumulative frequency axis until we get to 23. At 23, we roll a line across until we hit our red line. So we go across here until we hit our ogive. Once we hit our ogive, which is here, we go down and see where this point is on our x-axis. Remembering that really this is not what should be on our x-axis. So if we look across at our other graph and say that's where we went down, and where we went down there, what is that term? Here, that is 90. So our median is 90. Okay, lastly, and the easiest, is the modal class. Let's just simply go back up to our table here. Okay, so which class had the most common, the most frequently occurring? What was the most frequently occurring? Well, it was this class, 90 to 100. So 90 up to and including 100 was our modal class because it had 12 scores. It had the highest frequency of scores.